That was a catastrophe. That's exactly what Lucien Favre said after Dortmund were thrashed 5-1 by Stuttgart. And Janusz Michallik is here with me because, Janusz, that catastrophe continued into today as Favre and Dortmund have officially parted ways. Was this decision just impending? Because, as he said, a catastrophe, things were going from bad to worse. So this was just bound to happen, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was on the cards for sure. Not an easy situation, whatever you think about Lucien Favre, right? But it's a young team. It's ever developing. It's a team that, Lucien Favre, at the very least, gave a platform for young players to perform. But that's what happens with young players. I do agree with that decision, perhaps because it's a quick reaction. Let's not forget that Borussia Dortmund is only 5 points behind Bayern Munich right now. And if you remember with Bayern Munich last season, Niko Kovac, right? I mean, Bayern Munich is an example for everybody. They made a quick decision. Hansi Flick came in, and the rest is history, right? They've won every trophy there is to be won within the same season. And I think if I remember, Hansi Flick took over and they were in like 7th place, Bayern Munich, that is. So for Dortmund, it's not a critical position. But, that's what happens sometimes when young players like Gio Reyna, Jude Bellingham, Moukoko, Morey, and even, Erling Haaland, because he's still young and he's obviously wasn't available as of late. So I think that you need somebody that gives you that little bit of an extra balance, that little bit of an extra steal if Borussia Dortmund want to compete with Bayern Munich. And I still think that's not going to be the case. But there will be a manager that I think will make them, Alexis, more predictable in the matches that they've lost. Let's not forget, Borussia Dortmund have lost 4 games already. 3 of them at home. Okay, you can Bayern Munich, that's one thing. But, you lose to Stuttgart and Cologne, 2 promoted team, and Augsburg away. I mean, that's a lot. It's still early in the season. So I think the reaction was correct, and we saw it coming.
Plain and simple, because the stats are there. But where did it all go wrong for you for Favre? Because, like you said, to see Dortmund, I suppose, struggle this much in the Bundesliga, especially when we know that Bayern Munich leave very little room for error in terms of trying to catch them for that title. So for you, where did it all go wrong?
Balanced defensively. I think they're deep in talent, but certainly not in experience. I think dealing with Champions League and Bundesliga, it's tough when the expectations are for you to compete with Bayern Munich. I think to a large degree, I don't think they're going to compete with Bayern Munich anyway, because it's, you have too deep in every position and you feel like you have to give these players a platform to play. But I just don't think that this team is ready, Lucien Favre or not. That's what happens when you play these young players. And, reliance on Erling Haaland to some degree. You look at Royce, hasn't been at his best, right? And always injured. There's always a question mark. Look at Jadon Sancho and drop off in form. Do you put directly down to Lucien Favre? I don't know if you can do that, right? He certainly maybe was unsettled a little bit about the transfer rumors in the summer as well. So you look at this team, you're trying to fit so many players that are asking for playing time, that are doing well, but I think defensively, he was never a manager that had the balance. And, maybe the fact that he has been inexperienced, Lucien Favre, in terms of winning mentality. I mean, he really hasn't won anything in terms of big trophies as a manager just yet. So it's probably a combination of all these things.
Well, with that said, let me ask you this one then, because relying on their young talent has never been really a secret for Dortmund. That's something that they are known for. And even though they're so young, they really are very much capable of performing at that big stage. So since you said you can't always just put this only on Favre, does Dortmund need to change their way of doing things, probably go a little higher up? Or what would you suggest at this point if they want to continue competing at that next level like a Bayern?
Yes, I mean, a manager with sort of a really strong character that can instill that character into the team. I think that's something that you look forward to, because you look at maybe someone, if you look at RB Leipzig, here's another team that has quite a few young players, but there is a vision, there's a way of playing, right? Even on a bad day, they seem to be able under Julian Nagelsmann to bring something special, right? It's not as up and down. Maybe if you look at them, you could say, well, they're not as talented player for player, but under Nagelsmann, who's a proven manager, that they're a little bit different. So I think that's what you're going to do, because these young players need to learn. I mean, for them, every training is different, right? Up and down happen to young players. And I think there are huge expectations for a team that's always going to be selling their best players. So it's not easy to have this continuity. And I just think that if you look at Favre, he was always, for me, a little bit a manager on the softer side that took pleasure in getting these younger players better, but it was almost an art in itself rather than building a steady team.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.